This is an interesting one. So like, this actually goes back to Elasticsearch again. And this one's not as clear cut because it's like a design decision of, we had Elasticsearch, some indices that they had like a primary shard, two secondary shards, and each of them had like replicas. So we ended up having like 9 shards per index, which is great. Like in a daily basis is fine. But this thing also had like a rollover index policy of like of every day of every historical index copy that it had made already. So like, it's like an exponential growth of shards. And then this was, it was interesting because the developers that had this index, index rollover policy didn't really predict uphand. I'm not really sure why, but they were like, oh, we wanted to be just like extra safe. We have like extra backups and extra replicas, and like, we don't have to worry about maybe losing data later on. So it ended up literally being like just a pile of demonic looking, shards that we had like thousands and thousands of shards just for this index, and we were paying for it. And on top of everything, we were running our Elasticsearch cluster on a node pool that was autoscaling. So it just, happily went and added more nodes and added more nodes. And like, it just kind of grew with the size of the number of shards. So it kind of like quickly got out of hand. Like within a month, it was like, like it was just exponential growth number of, data nodes, as well as the number of nodes we were data nodes that we were buying, as well as the storage per data node we were paying for. And then we were alarmed just because at the end of the month, we were looking at our balance sheet. It's like, where did this huge jump of, storage costs came from, as well as CPU and memory, right? And it's like, oh, it's like this rogue index that just needed way too many replicas, and it didn't even need it. So we ended up, day 2, I guess this is like not even day 2, it's like day N operation. We went back and we just reviewed it, and we're just like, hey, do you really need this? Like, do you really need to make a copy of all the historical copies of what you just made? Like, for the entire, and then only after a month it would actually, garbage collect itself. So it was huge. It was huge waste, and I mean, this you can't really catch up front other than really good review process. And I don't really blame the developers here either, but it was really like a heart attack of a cost increase, and it was like across all of our clusters. So yeah, this is, design decisions.
The way that you went about fixing that was just going through and figuring out if it was actually needed.
We cut down, so the index, we cut down on the replicas. So like the primary shard would still have 3 replicas, that's fine. But the secondary shards cut down all the replicas. So we cut down on the number of shards being created in the first place. And then we also said, and the developers are like, okay, we actually don't need to keep around this many rollover indices. So we just cut down that as well. So it rolls over only after a week now, and we don't keep beyond after a week either. So it was just a huge review of cutting down data we don't need, and it was just like something we should have been that's something that should have been done like way earlier in the process. But you learn the lesson at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it's one of those things, like you said, you don't see it until a month later, and
yeah.